Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to part 3 of this week's Look Finance SEQFC Preview Show with thanks to Vilic Law. My name's Darren Lutton. I'm one of the admins at SEQFC, and tonight we're talking about Southwest Queensland football. Is it Southwest Queensland football? Is it Football Southwest? I've seen it all over the place. Gerard, media manager at Football Southwest Queensland. What is it called?
Yeah, you've got that one, mate. Football Queensland Southwest.
Football Queensland Southwest. There we go. All right, we'll lock that in. I'm sure to get that wrong now. Good evening, Gerard. Thank you for joining us.
Great to be here, mate.
Very good. All right, we've got a special guest this evening. His name is Steve Mcevoy. Steve, welcome to the show. You are part of the Stanthorpe United crew.
Yes, I am, and thanks for having us on the show tonight.
You're very, very welcome. Looking forward to getting your insights here this evening. Of course, Stanthorpe United joining the Toowoomba Football League competition, so we might just ask you a few questions first. Tell us how it all came about. I understand that the local league got cancelled for this year, and you decided to do something about it.
Yeah, 100% correct. The local league was cancelled. I suppose 2 or 3 weeks after we commenced training. There's a couple of clubs training, and once that decision was made, we kind of looked outside the square and thought, well, what can we do? And we approached Football Southwest to see if we could join the Toowoomba competition. We originally hoped to get 3 teams in, and the men's and the ladies and the Colts, but we were successful in getting the men's in, and it's been fantastic. And the whole process there was just about providing football for local guys down here. We were lucky enough to attract players from 3 clubs, probably the 2 of the strongest clubs in the competition for the last decade or so, and they put in 100%, and we're really enjoying the season today.
Okay, tell us about the players that you've got. So 3 clubs, how do they get to games? They catch a bus? Yeah,
well, we in our application to join the Football Toowoomba League, because they actually had commenced their season. They had played 2 rounds, so we were coming in a little bit late. We knew the draw had already been done and a lot of players already committed. We told them that we'd be prepared to travel up to Toowoomba for all our games, and that's been a big commitment by our players. But we knew that at the start that's what we'd be up for, and the boys are committed to the training, and they're committed to the games. And it's on a bus. It's 2 hours up, 2 hours back, and a game in between. Sometimes it's a Saturday, and other times it's mostly Sundays. And we were lucky enough to have 4 games in Warwick, which is only half an hour, 45 minutes up the road for us. So. But yeah, as I mentioned before, a lot of our players are farmers, and they do long hours, long days, and so the commitment to train and then travel on weekends, they really need to support their girlfriends and wives and family, and we're happy to say that's been forthcoming for the year, and I know the guys really enjoy the experience.
Yeah, and you're doing quite well in the competition as well. You must be pleased with that.
We lost. We won the first game against Highfields, and then we lost the next 2 games. But as I said to the guys, we treated that as probably our pre-season, because a lot of these boys never played before. They were still learning their guys' names, let alone style and positional play and everything else. We had 2 weeks to prepare to get into the Toowoomba comp, so it was really very much a rush around, get players, who's interested, who's committed, and who plays where. And once we kind of got those couple of games under the belt, they started to gel a little bit more, and we went on a winning run of about 8 in a row, or 7 or 8, I think. Lost a couple after that, and now we're back in the winner's circle last weekend. So, but yeah, it's been fantastic for the guys who've been playing in the community down here.
I just should let everyone know who's listening, that noise that you can hear in the background, Steve's actually talking to us via a Commodore 64, so might be time to upgrade, but that's the noise, and we'll just excuse him as the night progresses. All right, Gerard, let's start with the Cap 3 League this season. You played against Bethania on the weekend, and it was a good 3-0 victory.
Yeah, came away with 3 points and puts us in third position there, sort of a couple of points adrift Springfield and Narangba, but really pleased with that result, given that we've got a catch-up round game, round one catch-up game this Saturday against Tarragindi Tigers. If we can win that, then that'll take us to 24 points and really puts us in a great position at the back end of this season to try and run down Springfield and Narangba if they do drop points in those sort of last 5 games. So, yeah, probably not exactly where we want to be, but we're definitely in the right area. And, really looking forward to taking on Tarragindi on the weekend.
Yes, so you are going to one of the smallest grounds in football Brisbane, which is Tarragindi Fields. Do you know anything about them?
The only thing that from a local perspective, I know that they played in the FFA Cup, and one of the local clubs, West Wanderers, beat them. And that's probably the only thing that we really know about them. But we have heard quite a few comments about the narrow pitch that you mentioned. And that'll be interesting to see how we adapt and adjust to that, because our home pitch at Commonwealth Oval there in North Toowoomba is quite a wide pitch. And so we like to play an expansive game. So it'll be interesting to see if both squads can adapt to a narrow pitch, and just what that means even from a formational and positional changes. I'm sure the coaches will be well aware and well prepared in how to adapt that. But it could be a little bit of an obstacle for us playing on a narrow pitch, but hopefully still confident that we can go in and take 3 points.
It is one of those fields where the goalkeeper can take a goal kick and actually affect a shot on goal.
Yeah, so a bit like primary school football then.
Yeah, exactly. So, yes, Willowburn having a fantastic season in Capital 3, in third place with the game in hand. If they win that, they'll move up to 21 points, which is currently 6 behind Narangba United. Now, for those of you watching this show and maybe interested in a couple of the other shows that we've got, our Football Queensland, Football Brisbane and the Capital Leagues show actually has the coach from Narangba, Nathan Walker, on their show tonight. So look out for that one as well. All right, now let's go to the FQPL, where the Thunder men played their top-of-the-table clash against Logan. And, Gerard, they narrowly went down 3-2.
Yeah, I think Ramiz might have put the commentator's curse on him. He backed him last week in last week's show, and they came up empty. So I think Ramiz probably needs to take a bit of responsibility for that loss, perhaps. But they're obviously unlucky not to at least get a draw out of it. I thought Logan came out of the blocks really, really well. I think they were 2-0 up, and then they got a goal disallowed, I believe, was the ruling there. I might have that wrong. I think not sure what happened there in that second half. It wasn't for a lack of trying and effort from the Thunder lads, but they just couldn't get the job done, and it certainly makes that fight for that promotional position even more interesting now. With only a couple games remaining, it puts a lot of pressure on the Thunder, but also obviously now they sort of are pursuing Logan. So it's going to be absolutely exciting these last couple of games.
Logan are one of those clubs that they get so close and just fall at the final hurdle. Their final match is against Mitchelton, who are currently in third place. So any of you there that think that the season's gone, hold on to your hats. They're only 2 points behind. Few games left to go, and let's have a look who the Thunder are playing this weekend. They are playing Sunshine Coast FC. Now, on our Sunshine Coast show tomorrow night, we're actually talking to the technical director of the Sunshine Coast Fire. So people on the Darling Downs, you've got a lot of shows to catch up on this week. All right, so that's been played at Kawana. Getting a lot of cross promotions in here, Gerard.
Yeah, mate. Would you like fries with that?
Exactly. All right, now let's get to the TFL. And Steve, back to you. Actually, no, let's talk about the NPLW. And it was the Thunder Women had a big win on the weekend. They took on Football Queensland QAS. Now, they are a young side who I don't think anyone's over 17 years of age. So anyone in the area who's seen as having a bit of potential, they get them in this squad, train them up, and turn them into champions. India Paige Riley was in the QAS team a couple of seasons ago. She's now playing in Norway and has played for Brisbane Roar a couple of seasons as well. So it's a talent factory. And the Thunder took them on and beat them 4-1. So really impressive result there.
Yeah, I think.
Catch up with that one, Gerard.
Yeah, I think that's either their third or fourth win of the year for the Thunder ladies. So they'd be really happy with that, and they'd be really happy with how they're progressing. And I just see Kris has joined the show, so perhaps he's probably got a bit more insight to me. He's timed that well. He must have been listening in, and so over to you, Kris.
Me and technology, I don't know. I've been trying to get into this chat for a long time. The Thunder women, we're good team, playing fantastic football on the weekend, from the first minute till the end of the 95th minute. They played the best football they've played all year, and I know it sounds a bit cocky, even though we're so far down the ladder. The game was a little bit easy. Not saying that the QAS didn't play well, of course they did, but the ladies were just outstanding. Even though halfway through the game, or not even quite halfway through the game, the power pole went out, the light went out, so we had to go to the next field and finish the game off. So it was played on 2 games, 2 fields, 2 halves, 4 goals.
That's amazing.
Yeah, yep. And our outside back scored 2 goals. Sinner just hit the parent. So it was good, very good.
Has that ever happened before?
I'm sure it has, but not for us. Maybe we need to make that happen more often. I'm not sure. But it was good, and they played really well, and everyone was happy. We went back to the pub and joined up with the Willowburn boys as well. So it ended up a good night for everyone.
Quick word from you, Kris, on the men's team. What was the feeling at the club after the 3-2 loss to Logan?
Okay, well, it wasn't a good night for everyone, I guess. The men, I went down to that game, and I met the women back after that game. And it was a good game. It was really tight, really fast, pretty aggressive. The team's disappointed, obviously, and that goes without saying with every loss. But we're certainly not out of it, and we certainly don't think that we're out of it. We're pretty confident that I think, and Jason, who just dropped back, he came up with the stats. He's the stat man. It was something along the lines of, in the first round, the last 7 games or thereabouts, we got 16 points. They got 8. So we're hoping a similar sort of scenario happens. But we've got a big game on Sunday at the Sunshine Coast, 4:00. So that's where we restart the run to promotion.
Do the Thunder women have a game this weekend?
Yeah, at the stadium. I think they're the only game at the stadium, so that'll be a good little fixture for them against East, and I think East are running 5th. So a tough game. It's saying that as well. Last round we had a draw with the QAS. Obviously we beat them on the weekend, but we also had a draw. It was a tough game with East at East. So we think that we can take that one out too. I don't see why not.
East have been a crazy team over the past couple of weeks. They've lost games that they should have won games that they should have lost. They've got Rosie Sutton in their team, who is a former Western Sydney Wanderer player who's recently signed and halfway through the season. So she adds a ton of quality to that team. Zoe Lambie, look out for her in the midfield. She's a quality player as well.
Yeah, they've got some quality all over the park. And, it's another one of those things. If we play the 90 minutes, we'll beat anyone. But if we don't, we won't beat anyone. So luckily on the weekend we did. And we think that I was at training tonight. That's why I was late. I went to the women's and the men's and everywhere, to be fair. But it's a great feeling around the club. I was with the young players before I did go to the ladies, and then I went to the men. So it's a really, really good feel around the club at the moment. And, if we can just keep that buzz, keep that feeling going, there's a lot of confidence. So, I think that the women can win a few more games, and I don't like saying it because it jinxes everything, but the men certainly can go up.
Kris, can I ask if the men do get promoted, how many of the current squad do you think you guys will try and retain to have a crack at the NPL next year? Is there a feeling that you'll try and retain the majority of that squad?
Absolutely, yeah. Well, they're the ones who got us there, and there's a thing which I'm big on is loyalty, and I think that we'll probably look at one or two to strengthening certain positions. There's definitely some positions which we really need to look at fixing if we are to go back up. But yeah, we'll keep most of them, definitely. And you got to remember, and you know this yourself, a lot of them are young, so they develop and they become better. Look at the core of our team when NPL started seven odd years ago. It's only about 4 of them or thereabouts, but those players are now integral parts of the squad. So yeah, we'll keep as many as we can. And I think that's important. And I'm pretty confident. I was going to give you a scoop, but I won't. I'm pretty confident we'll keep Ivor as well.
Okay. What about goalkeepers? Seem to be a pretty rare commodity in the Darling Downs and Southwest Queensland, or at least good goalkeepers anyway. You've got Pierce Clark there on loan. What if you do get promoted, or even if you obviously stay in FQPL? What's the thoughts there around your goalkeeping position?
Absolutely, we need one. Well, he'll be gone at the end of the year. He'll go back to South Melbourne. So we definitely will be chasing someone, and we want the best goalkeeper we can get. Obviously, it's really important for a goalkeeper a team to have a good goalkeeper, as well as a good striker, and obviously the spine and good players all over the park. But a goalkeeper, you have a good goalkeeper who can win you a game. So we'll definitely be chasing after a good goalkeeper. And you're right, there's not a lot in our area.
Mm. Yeah.
There we go. The challenge has been thrown out there.
Yeah, absolutely. But look, we're for me, I just quickly say 2 things. Really, really, really happy for Stanthorpe. I think that's absolutely unreal. Really, really, absolutely amazing. And it's one thing which I understand the travel. We've got some Stanthorpe players in our club, so it's really proud of the way they're behaving in the Premier League. But also Willowburn, how well they've done themselves in the Brisbane competition, and for them to lose players in the Toowoomba competition, to have a Premier and reserves team both go down there, and for them to stay competitive the way they are is a credit to the club. So, we've got two great people here who are chatting with you, and one numpty in a blue jacket.
Don't forget the numpty in the black shirt as well.
Yeah, that's 2 of us. Yeah.
All right, let's move on to the TFL. Great segue there. Steve, Stanthorpe had a 2-1 victory over Gatton on the weekend. Tell us about it.
It was a very, very tough game. We knew they were going to be hard to beat Gatton. They beat us in the first round 1-0 down at Gatton, and they had to travel up to Warwick this time for our home game. And we were down 1-0 at half time, and the boys dug in. We were suffering majorly from injuries. We haven't got a reserve grade side, so our coach had to actually pull on his boots this week and get out there and have a game for the first time this year. But Brad Rubby's been an ex-Toowoomba player for many years, so he knew what he was in for. So the boys came back, showed a bit of character, and then got away with a 2-1 victory. And that was the first one in 3 weeks for us now. So it kind of gave the squad a big buzz, to get back in the winner's story. So very, very happy. But it relieves a little bit of pressure. But of course, every week's a tough game in the Premier League and there in Toowoomba. And we've got another hard game this week against West Wanderers. They drew with Gatton the week before, and with this finishing line in sight, we just got to keep going the way we're going.
Gerard, is this competition having a final series?
Yeah. So it'll kick off. I think it's in the final weekend of October is the week 1 of final. So they take top 4 from Premier Ladies and Premier Men, and with the grand final being on the 15th of November at the Toowoomba Stadium.
Okay. Willowburn had a 3-1 win over West Wanderers. Did you take in much of that?
Look, yeah, West Wanderers, I think in a couple of years' time, they'll be probably back to their best. I think they've got some good young talent in there. And yeah, they certainly gave us a workout. I think there was a penalty each way, and take those penalties out, and the scoreline's obviously a lot closer. So we were very wary of them, given that they had drawn with Gatton the week prior. They're a good side, and I think they're really underrated in the competition, and sure, they might not be in finals contention, but they can cause upsets. And I think, like I said, a couple of years' time, they'll be right up there. There's no doubt about that.
All right, let's take a look now at the match of the weekend. Not a 7-goal thriller, not even a 9-goal thriller, an 11-goal thriller.
Yeah.
St Albans 6, USQFC 5. Gentlemen, what do you know about this game?
I know that Richard Mitchellman had a look at the game, and I think he turned up when it was 5-3 in favour of USQ, and he was on the phone talking about it afterwards, and just said you wouldn't believe what happened. That they'll be able to, St Albans able to fight their way back and get the win 6-5, and it was obviously an exciting game of football, and St Albans have shown that most of the year that they won't give up and they'll keep on going to the very end. And Richard was just amazed by the scoreline, and because you don't see that very often in football.
Daniel Webber with a hat-trick in that game. Gerard, have you got anything to add to that?
Oh, look, I think Dan Webber's having a tremendous season. I know that he obviously was in the Thunder system there for a little while, and he scored a goal against us, against Matty Eilers, and honestly, it's probably been the best free kick I've seen this year. So I think any team with a bloke like Dan Webber in there is a chance. I think the other thing to probably take note of is that's the second week in a row that Saints have come from behind. So obviously they're building up some really good resilience in digging themselves out of a hole, and I think that'll probably serve them well coming into the finals. And I think they're equal with points on with Stanthorpe. That might be right, Steve, but you guys have got them on goal difference. So it makes that minor premiership a little bit more tasty as well, with Saints and Stanthorpe sort of snapping at each other.
I coached a few of them a long time ago. Wow, and not that long ago. Dan was in our open men's team just recently, but I bumped into a couple of them at one of our local pubs after it. They were still up celebrating. They're cocky young guys, but they were also respectful. So they were comfortable, and there's I don't know what the right word is. I think they're pretty confident to take it. So you guys are going to have to stand up and don't let them win. Don't let them win. No, they're great kids. Absolutely great kids, that team. So yeah, it's good. It's good to watch. It's the competition in Toowoomba is, for me, is looking really good. The Premier League this year is probably the best one.
Yeah, I think I take my hat off to Saints. I mean, obviously they played in the conference division, which is the equivalent to a third division last year, and they took the step of faith really to put in a Premier team this year. And obviously it's thrown the cat amongst the pigeons. But it's I think we talked about it on last week's show with Ramiz. It's brought a whole different dynamic to the competition, and I think other clubs should take note of, if you want to build a club, particularly in Toowoomba, then nominate a Prems team, and that's how you can recruit. Because I guarantee you that St Albans Premier team, whether they win it this year or not, they'll have a lot more players at that club next year, and that's good for that club, and it's good for the competition, simply because they bit the bullet and decided to put a Premier team in. So yeah, well done, St Albans.
And they seem really happy. That's the main thing. They seem really happy. I know they were probably a little bit drunk, maybe not. I'm not sure, but they were really happy. So it's good. it's good to see. So bumping into the Willowburn boys coming back, and then some of the Auburn's boys at my local was good.
The Willowburn boys probably would have been all sober, Kris.
100% they were.
Yeah.
There's no question.
Good boys.
Yeah. No, they were.
So Gatton
So I'm not sure.
Gatton and Rockville are 4th and 5th on the ladder with 22 points. Willowburn 3rd on 26, and St Albans and Stanthorpe on 27 points. Steve, tough at the top, yeah?
Yeah, as I said before, every game's difficult, and it's going to be a real test on player depth with injuries and players coming back and all that type of stuff. And yeah, Willowburn I see is a real danger. I mean, I think they've got Highfields this week, they're gonna leapfrog a couple of teams this weekend for sure. So it's such a tight competition where with the Rockville and Gatton game being very vital to both of those squads. And it's an old cliche, but it's very true. It's just 1 week at a time for us. I mean, we've got so much respect for Wanderers this weekend. We know what they're capable of, and we're so desperate to get a result. So it's going to be a very tough, hard game. We've got a number of players out, unavailable, but that's when you've got to stand up and be counted. It's a test of character for the boys.
All right. I was just going to ask you to take us through that match, but I think you've already done that. All right. So let's move on to the Willowburn Highfields match. Gerard, how do you see that one going?
Look, in the first time we played them earlier on the season, we won 1-0, but we made it really, really hard for ourselves. So to echo Steve's thoughts, I mean, we sort of need those 3 points to at least cement top 4, but then to really push for that top 2, so that you can get a second bite of the cherry in week 2 of the finals if you do slip up. So we're certainly not going to be complacent this week. We want that 3 points, and we'll be gunning for it. And we had a couple of players sort of come back into the squad. We've had young Damien Saunders rejoin our ranks, and he's been out with injury for most of the season, but he's been able to come back into the squad in the midfield just at the right time. And he's been a real boost to us in that midfield. He gets us going. He reads the game so well, and he's probably been a key missing personnel that we've needed in that midfield. Not that our midfield hasn't been doing well, but we just probably needed that third option there as well. And he's come in right at the time. And Ben Barracliff has also rejoined the squad. He's a bit of an old horse now, and he's played Thunder and been at Willowburn for many, many years. And but even just his experience has been so good for us as well. So it'll be a tough game. I mean, teams that have nothing to lose are often the hardest ones to play, and really Highfields have got nothing to lose, so they'll probably throw the kitchen sink at us and hope for a result. So we need to be on our game and ready to take them on.
The other 2 matches, Gatton are hosting USQFC, and I'll venture that the match of the round this weekend is St Albans against Rockville. Do you agree?
Yeah, 100%. Rockville, they obviously want to cement their top 4 spot, and Saints probably want to keep in touch with Stanthorpe. So, it'll be no doubt it'll be spicy, it'll be feisty, and be a great one to watch actually.
All right, let's quickly turn now to the Premier Ladies competition on the weekend. Rockville had a 4-0 win over USQFC. Willowburn, 2-0 over Highfields, and West Wanderers, a 5-3 win over the Hawks, Lady Hawks. I love that name, Hawks, Lady Hawks. So good, they named it twice. Let's look at the ladder. Willowburn, top of the table on 27 points. Highfields on 23, Rockville on 18. Looking at this weekend's matches, Highfields hosting Wanderers, USQFC hosting Willowburn, and Rockville up against Hawks, Lady Hawks. Kris, any of those matches take your fancy?
Well, I'll just sort of go back a little bit. That was a big win for Willowburn over Highfields. That was a few points, which I think, what did you say? That was 27 points to Willowburn to 24 Highfields. 4 point gap. That's a big win. So it's important. I think Willowburn are going forward, but I'm a little bit surprised because I do think that Highfields have got a pretty good team. So, yeah, and West Wanderers as well. They're an old team. They're a team which have not old, but they're a team which have come from another club and rebuilt, and they seem to be a little bit. I was talking to the coach the other day. Actually, he said they're a little bit stagnant at the moment, I guess. So if they can get a winner on the weekend, it restarts their run for the premiership as well. It's an interesting competition.
Yes, I was probably ran through that a little bit quickly. That was the top of the table flash. Let's rewind a bit. Just realised we've been going for half an hour now. We've got our time constraints. So Gerard, the ladies must have been thrilled with the win.
Yeah, I think I said last week that there's a really healthy rivalry there that has been developing with Highfields, and the girls were really happy with that 2-0 win, and sort of puts us in the box seat. And really, it's ours to lose for the minor premiership and that top spot at the end of the season, given there's only 3 games, I think, with the ladies left to go. So yeah, that's obviously it was a critical win, a crucial win, and ladies were really, really happy with that. And obviously our eyes are now fixed on USQ for this week. So if we can get that win, it puts us just that little bit closer to the first piece of silverware for the ladies this year.
For sure. All right, we might wrap up the show there. Thank you all for participating this evening. But to everyone watching, I might just add a little something here. On our SEQFC page, we run end-of-season awards. And currently, West Wanderers are up for the Best Bar Award. And the guys have stepped up to the plate. They've sent through pictures, sent through a video of one of the players.
Grub, he's a good guy. Yeah, him, Rob Fowler videoed Grub there. So, yeah, great pub or bar.
Yes, it's so good. And look, Taringa, the club in Brisbane, they won the award last year. They're currently in front. If everyone in Toowoomba pulls together and supports Wanderers, they could get up over the line. They're currently in 3rd place, I think. So there is a chance there. We've also got the best home kit of the season, and well, the area was lucky enough to get 2 clubs nominated. We had the Willowburn Junior home kit. They were nominated by the Veto guys, who are the kit supplier to Willowburn, and the other club who's St Albans, of course. Yep. Yes. So jump on our page, have a look for those polls, get your votes in, and support the area.
Excellent.
All right. So, Kris, Emily, thank you so much for joining us this evening.
Thanks. Sorry I was late.
That's all right. Gerard Alton, as per usual, thank you.
Always a pleasure, mate.
And Steve Mcevoy, thank you so much for your time this evening.
Been a lot of fun. Thanks, mate.
Good stuff. Hopefully we'll get you back. So, get that computer upgraded. We'll get you back. All right, that is the Look Finance SEQFC Preview Show with thanks to Vilic Law. We will see you next week.